This story is out of Denver, Colorado, and you had a father that walked outside of his home and looked and noticed a bunch of racial slurs that were sprayed on his particular home. He told his wife about it. I want you to hear her response to this.
You know, I definitely don't feel safe in my house now. My whole family was home. This was just a reminder that it's not history, it's present as well. I'm mortified. You know, it's kind of hard. It's hard to explain how you feel. You know, this is something that you read about in history books. And now it's reality. Ken asked me to come outside, and he tried to prepare me. He said, take a deep breath before you see this. This is where Ken smokes his cigarettes. So there's a noose right above that. I've been to court 3 times with her. It's been ongoing. We've had police contact at least 3 times a week since the 19th of August. I do eventually want it off the house, but I think that it's important for people to know that this still occurs. So I would like for it to stay up for a while. They need to know that Denver's not as progressive and as moderate as we all think.
Now, you heard they was talking about an ongoing dispute with a particular neighbor. And, just my suspicion, it could have been that neighbor that did this, but we just fully don't know as of right now. But they want to leave up the racial slurs on the home just to, I guess, show the residents what happened or what's going on. But this is the thing. When she stated that Denver isn't progressive as people think, what does progressive mean? I want to ask black folks that. What does that really mean? Because the word progressive doesn't mean non-racist. You have to understand, there are people in these so-called progressive areas that still believe in being racist, that don't like black people. I mean, maybe in certain areas you may have a reduction of that, but don't be silly, I would say, talking to black folks specifically. Don't be silly to think, oh, well, it's not areas where Republicans are at, so, they may have a few black folks there or some Hispanics or Asians or etc. So it can't be that bad. Now, I'm not saying the whole Denver is like that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say is don't go anywhere thinking you're not going to deal with that. As long as you're living in this country, in the United States of America, like Malcolm X said, anything south of Canada is the South. And I will tell you, based off of what I've seen probably more racism in the North. That's a way worse than anything in the South, because at least the South is honest when they're racist and they're upfront with it. And I appreciate that. But that deceptive racism, that subtle racism, that's the worst one ever. So don't ever let your guard down wherever you are at. That's just my opinion about it. I mean, I'm not saying everyone's going to be that way to you. I'm not saying to walk around with a chip on your shoulder. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is always be vigilant, keep your eyes open, pay attention to everything. That's the only thing I'm saying, because if we let our guard down, we think, oh, I'm good, I'm not in this particular area. That's usually when something happened to us. And I always want us to keep our eyes open at all times. Now you have those babies that got to see that. And, we talk about racism, white supremacy, other people, children don't see this too much. I mean, they really don't. It's black people that have been seeing this for hundreds of years. And for what? For the color of their skin? Do you know how stupid that is? No one can help the color of their skin, no matter how dark it is, how light it is, etc. You have to be extremely ignorant, loss of brain cells, and you surely don't have a quote unquote high IQ that you say you have, and you still act that way. This is why a lot of people want to get by themselves and not deal with certain people. And then you have those that say, well, not everyone's that way. But this is the thing. If you're not that way, you need to check those within your community who are that way. When they're saying things when none of us are around, let them know how it's wrong to do something like that. Let them know discrimination is something that shouldn't be tolerated. And for surely, even if you disagree with a person, you don't got to be on no gas and no doggone color. But, because what I'm seeing is, the more hatred you have, the more division you have, it doesn't do well at all for anybody. And we need to stop being divided within our own community. We divide over stupidity as well. Unity is what we need. And we preach that all the time, at least here. Don't divide on colorism. Don't divide on financial status or whatever we want to divide on, because we all in the same boat. We really are. But leave me a comment those things about this particular story. If you live in Denver, anybody black, is this something that's common that's happening? Have you had anything? I'm not saying this extreme, but is the racism, something that you deal with over there? Because like, hey, I'm gonna go to Denver one day, and I want to know, hey, Phil, don't go over there, but come over here. You know what I'm saying? I like to know everywhere I'm going before I step in the city.